corporate world is full of shiny buildings and plush boardrooms, but there is an ugly side to the sector, with corruption affecting some of the country's most vulnerable groups. Let's get some perspective from our reporter Michael Marillier, who joins us right now. And Mike, you've been looking at the effects of a study on price fixing. Fair to say the numbers are pretty disturbing.
Absolutely, Joe. We took a look at a World Bank study conducted in 2016, and it just highlights the number of sectors really that have been rocked by these particular scandals over the last 20 to 25 years, and they do touch every aspect of our lives. You build a house, you'll need cement. You have dinner or lunch or breakfast, maize, wheat, poultry, all affected by price-fixing scandals. You go to the doctor and get a prescription. Well, pharmaceuticals have also been affected by price-fixing scandals. School uniforms and even, believe it or not, the soccer game you watch on television, it's been affected by price fixing because World Cup stadiums, of course, were mired in that scandal back in 2010. What does it all mean for prices? Well, let's take a look at 4 food items which have been affected. Wheat flour as much as 42% higher as a direct result of price fixing. Poultry 25%, pharmaceuticals 15%, and maize 10%. Bear in mind, these are basic essentials for many households in South Africa. In fact, let's get that number up right now. Those 4 items make up nearly 16% of the consumption basket or the shopping basket for the poorest of the poor in South Africa, really being ripped off at the most basic level. And the World Bank says that if it weren't for those price-fixing practices, 202,000 people would have been lifted out of poverty. So really disturbing numbers coming out of that particular study. Very quickly, Joe, I just want to take a look at the average size of these cartels. Between 2005 and 2015, officials identified 76 cartels and imposed penalties on them. They're not operating in small numbers. The average size of a cartel in South Africa is 5 firms. So certainly many of them getting together to make these practices possible. And believe it or not, Joe, they don't just disappear after a year or two. The average, and I stress that, the average lifespan of a cartel in this country, 8 years. So as much as officials may be able to identify them, it takes time to get rid of them and to deal with them effectively.
Thank you so much for that, Michael. It's well discussed and unpacked for us. Gives you an idea of the consequences of corporate corruption for some of the most vulnerable in our society.